But speaking of women and going to Kooyong, it looks like in pre-poll samples out of Kooyong in Melbourne and Kew, there's a 20% lead of the Libs over Monique Ryan in pre-poll samples there at the moment. So,
do we know how much is counted out of...
Oh, these are all samples, mate, that are coming out. So, that, these things could change very rapidly, but,
Can I just say something on that, Kieran? I mean, as a result of the redistribution, 1/3 of Kooyong has changed. And that 30% that's come in has come from the bluest of blue areas, Toorak example. Yeah. This is now undoubtedly a Liberal seat. If the Libs don't take that back tonight, that'll be a very bad result.
Just on that point, though, Kooyong, some of the bluest of bluest areas are the most difficult for the Liberal Party now. So I would be careful with just assuming...
Well, what's that about? How's that been allowed to happen?
Obviously, they're all women.
Well, because when you've got a bit more money in your pocket, you're maybe not focused on things like cost of living. You've got an ability to look at other issues. Well, and if the election's about cost of living, you tell me how you guys keep losing poor old seats where people are struggling.
I think the really interesting thing will be tonight whether the strategy that Peter Dutton pursued, and I know you encouraged him to pursue, Peter, of ditching the teal seats for the outer suburbs, whether it pays off.
I've never, don't verbal me, Murray.
What's that about?
I have never advocated ditching the teal seats.
You've certainly advocated for going after the outer suburbs.
I've always advocated, coming from a poor, backward part of regional Victoria, that those places cannot and should not be forgotten by the Liberal Party.
Well, the strategy will be very interesting.
Mate, your mouth is writing cheques your brain can't cash.
Peter, your response to my point on Kooyong was a credible one. I respect that. But I'll make the point, if you're not going to get Kooyong, given the redistribution back from the Teals, what are you going to get back from the Teals?
I'm not conceding Kooyong at about, what, 10.6?
Yeah, no, OK.
No.
Sure.
I'm just making a point. Just because an area is demographically very well heeled doesn't mean it's naturally Liberal anymore.
And
Victoria is a very different state, I think, tonight. I don't think we should see anything really through the prism of Victoria.
But the other thing that I would say about 30% of the seat has come in from Toorak and other places.
Yes.
The other thing that I would say about the Teals, they are not who they say they are. Peter calls them the Gucci Greens. Most of the Teals MPs are left-wing activists. Monique Ryan, a case in point. She's a former member of the Labor Party. She went to the last election promising a 60% reduction in emissions. And one of the things that so many Australians have seen from the Teals, they have big promises and very little delivery. There are a couple of exceptions, but most of them are left-wing activists. And what happens in those Liberal seats is that they get all of the Green supporters. They all dress up in their Teals T-shirts. They are not...
I guess the question is, why do they look like they might even increase the representation? I mean, you look at Bradfield, you look at Bean, perhaps you even look at Wannon. I'm not sure they're going backwards this time.
Because I think they've
got Bowles from the Australian Conservation Foundation, so she's definitely in that Green category, but she's on the verge of winning that seat.
Well, I think one of the things, and I look at Goldstein, I look at Kooyong, particularly in Victoria, a lot of voters have now had a very close look at those members of Parliament, and they are not who they say they are.
Do you believe you'll be winning those two tonight?
No, I'm not making any prediction at this early stage. Certainly the early indications in Kooyong are positive. We've fought very, very hard. Tim Wilson has fought a really, really strong ground game in Goldstein, but he's got a big mountain to climb. But all I'm saying is that these Teals are the Gucci Greens, as Peter says.
Thank you.